What up, Screen Fiends? I'm GB, and you're tuned in to Headz TV, where we like to discuss all the wonderful things appearing on your movie and your TV screens. In this episode, I'm going to give my predictions, share my thoughts on what I think is going to happen this week on the next episode of The Walking Dead, which is going to be Season 7, Episode 13, titled Bury Me Here. Okay, first off, I don't do spoilers. All the predictions, all the assumptions that I come to either come from what I've seen in the trailers and the promo, any promo material that's been released, and the past habits of the show. So, every show, Walking Dead included, falls into certain habits, a certain way about doing things. Of course, every now and then it gets shaken up, but that's really where I base my predictions on. And of course, because I read the source material, I have no choice but to put ideas from the source material into what I think is going to take place in the show. Even though more often than not, it's at least different, if not totally changed. Okay, so from trailers, from promos, we know that it's going to be a Kingdom episode. It's really going to be about Carol. It's going to be about Morgan. And I think it's going to be a heavy focus on Ezekiel. Because remember, we're winding down to the end of the season, and we definitely need the Kingdom to be part of the war with Negan. We definitely need the Kingdom to back Rick. So that's got to happen. So I definitely feel like we're going to get a lot of Ezekiel this episode because of that fact. We're going to get into his brain more about his conflict of, do I join the fight? Do I stay out of it and keep my people alive? Okay, so let's start with Carol. I really think that the grave in the trailer, Bury Me Here, was Carol leaving that grave so that when she does what she's got to do, she doesn't plan on coming back, so that if her body is found, she can be buried close to that house, which I think she really, really enjoys living there. Even though she's secluded and away from the people I love, I think she feels it's a safe place. She likes having her own, and she doesn't have that burden of the loved ones around. So she's very fond of that location. So I definitely think that that's her grave she dug for herself, purposefully for Ezekiel to find, to bury her there later. Okay. But there's also this thinking in the back of my head about Morgan and his journey with Eastman and how they buried the dead when they killed them. Even if though the person was a walker, they killed him, they still buried him because at one point he was a person. So it also leads me to think, and also, Morgan's known for writing things, and the handwriting looks similar to me, even though it's, smeared in blood. What does that really say? But it could definitely be Morgan leaving that grave. I don't know. Maybe he goes after Carol, or he decides he's going to try and get to Negan and the sanctuary before Carol does. He feels he's a less, I don't know, useful. He's more worthy of dying. I don't know. Maybe something's going to happen to put him back into the state where he doesn't want to live anymore. I don't see that happening because he's so, all life is precious, and that's got to mean his life too. So I don't really see anything happening that's going to turn him crazy again or make him go suicidal again. But I can see it being Morgan somehow that dug that grave for himself also. But I definitely 100% think it's either Carol or Morgan. I'm leaning more towards Carol. So it's obvious that Carol is going to go looking for the truth. Maybe that's what makes Morgan go, fuck it, I'm going to go to the sanctuary before Carol or with Carol and sacrifice myself. I don't know. But Carol's definitely looking for Morgan because I don't think she really deep down believes Daryl. She knows this world. She knows what it's like. She knows what it's capable of and what people are capable of. She dealt with Negan's people. She was in that outpost with those women. And she got a a little insight into how the saviors think. And I really believe that she does not believe that the saviors are taken care of. Now, does she think that terrible things happened? Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't think she knows. I think she just knows something isn't right. Probably in the way Daryl acted and judging off of what she knows of the world, like I said. So she's obviously going to go looking for Morgan. He's going to tell her. Why is he going to tell her? I don't know. All right, I'll get to that in a minute because I have a somewhat of a theory on why Morgan may just say, after all that trying to protect Carol from the truth stuff with Daryl, why he would go and tell her, after he was the one telling Daryl that, he shouldn't tell her, whatever. So that's going to be Carol's part of the episode, I believe. It's going to be her getting to Morgan for the information. Maybe she even goes to him twice. Maybe she goes to him once early in the episode. He doesn't say anything. And then towards the end of the episode, after something happens, that makes him say, fuck it, I'm going to tell her. I don't know. Okay. And I really think that's going to be it. It's probably going to end with Carol heading off with some plan, supplies packed, ready to go for the sanctuary. It's probably how Carol's part of the story is going to end. I can see the end of the episode being, Carol on the road with a bag of supplies or something like that. Or her planning out an attack. Something. Her outside the sanctuary. I don't know. But she doesn't even know where the sanctuary is, so how could that happen, right? Unless she ran into Daryl. All right. So now I think the bulk of the episode, like I said, I think will be Ezekiel, Morgan, and some of the kingdomers. I don't know, the residents of the kingdom. I don't know what you would call them. The kingdomites, the royal subjects. How about that? So I think it's going to be mostly the King Ezekiel and his royal subjects, and of course Morgan. Now, every time we've spent some time with the kingdom, we've gotten an interaction with the saviors, via a drop-off. So, I think they come once a week, so it leads me to believe that this is now, the third week since that first drop-off we saw way back in episode 2. All right. So what I think is going to happen, obviously there's going to be friction. You see guns drawn, drawn. Everyone's pointing at each other. And it looks like tension is really, really mounting. Now, after the last incident, tensions got worse. The first incident, let's start there. The tensions were there. There was Richard and Jared, the long-haired savior. It was just really them going at it real quick. Then, and it was shut down. Gavin seemed to be Gavin is the leader of that group of saviors. He seemed to be pretty cool, understood that his man is a dick, and he wants to try and keep the peace, it seems like, in that first confrontation. Then we get the second one, where Morgan gets involved and his staff gets taken and Richard's gun gets taken, and Gavin tells Ezekiel if this shit happens again, he's the first to go, meaning Richard. So in both incidences, it was Richard. I'm not going to say he instigated it, because that Jared, that savior, is a dick and he seems to have it out for Richard. But he does instigate it. I don't know if he's doing it to instigate or if he's just doing it because that's who he is. But we all know that Richard is not happy with the current situation, and he believes that they should be putting an end to the whole savior thing. So what I think is going to happen, Richard is going to fucking instigate again somehow. Maybe he shorts them in the drop-off. Maybe he picks another fight with Jared. One way or another, Richard is going to start some shit again. And Gavin is going to be like, I told you, Ezekiel, this shit happens again. He's going to be the next to go, and they're going to want to kill Richard. And that's going to make Ezekiel and all of them pull out their guns. Even Morgan, you see Morgan draw his gun. So I think that's what's going to make them all draw their guns, is that Gavin's going to say, that's it, Richard, get on your knees or whatever, and it's not going to happen, and all of them are going to pull out their guns. I do believe that at least saviors are going to die, but somebody from the kingdom has got to get it. It's probably going to be Richard. I don't really see it being anybody else, so Richard's probably going to get popped, which is going to start everybody popping off. Maybe somebody else gets hit. Maybe somebody else gets killed. But that's going to put Ezekiel in the position where he's like, fuck this. You know, we got to stop this shit. And I don't think it's going to be that easy. He's going to still be wrestling with, what do I do? Now if I tell my people that this has been going on, there's been a deal behind their back, they're going to revolt, they're going to hate me. You know, he's going to be battling with this issue of, I know I got to put a stop to it now. Rick is right, Benjamin's right, but not only will I be revealing that I was a traitor to my people, now I'm putting lives at risk more than ever, because you're ripping apart your community, and he doesn't want to do that. He loves his people. Ezekiel is one of the best leaders there because he loves his people, just like Rick does now. You know, Rick wasn't a really good leader in season 6 because he didn't love his people. They were expendable to him until No Way Out. Okay, well, you know, his core group he loved. Let me state that. But I mean, all of Alexandria, his community as a whole, wasn't really family to him as they are now. All right, so Ezekiel's going to battle with that, and I'm sure by the end of the episode we're going to get at least a hint that Ezekiel is leaning towards following Rick. I don't know if he's going to outright state it. I don't know if he's going to outright go to Alexandria and approach Rick about it, but I can see that happening. Like I said, we're approaching the end. We're at episode 13 with this episode, so that leaves 14, 15, 16, 3 more episodes till the end. So things got to start moving more. So yeah, I personally think that it's going to leave off with the maybe, with leading us to believing towards Ezekiel is definitely going to be making the choice to join Rick. It's just how he goes about telling his people and all that. As far as Morgan goes, back to what I was saying earlier about maybe Morgan dug the grave, but why would he be suicidal? Why would he go back to somewhat of a crazy Morgan? I don't think he's going to go back to totally crazy, because I believe that what they're going at with Morgan and Carol is that both of their philosophies were right in a way. That all life is precious and you shouldn't be killing. But when people mean to do harm to good people, when bad people mean to do harm to good people, and these bad people can't be talked out of it, they can't be reasoned with, after that is tried and done and you're unsuccessful, only then should you defend yourself, your life, the lives of your loved ones. I think that that's what they're leading towards, something to that nature. So I don't see Morgan going completely crazy again, just like I don't see Carol going completely badass again. I don't see it, because then it makes all of this storyline up until this point with these two characters pointless if they just immediately go back to the way they were. Pointless. There needs to be change, especially before either one of these characters kick the bucket. So you can count on Morgan and Carol. In my opinion, at least they shouldn't, but I think you can count on them not going totally back to the way that they were. Carol fans will be upset at that statement, and some Morgan fans will be upset because some Morgan fans actually liked him better when he was a little unhinged and crazy. Whatever. I like this Morgan, and I like Carol's conflict, and I'm hopeful that what we're going to find is at least one of these characters will survive long enough to find the middle ground and to understand that both points of view are necessary in any world where, yes, all life is precious, but there comes a line that can't be crossed. And if that line is crossed, then things have to happen. Not saying necessarily death, but not just sitting on your hands talking and reasoning. Okay, this is getting long, so let me wrap this up. So I can see by the end of the episode, as far as Morgan goes, this is why he tells Carol he sees the saviors are no good. And he's reflecting on the wolves, how they really, even though one of them changed, the majority of them didn't, and the saviors seem to not be able to change. They're brutal, they're unreasonable, it's their way or the highway, and I think that's going to push Morgan to a point where he goes, you know, all life is precious, and I want that to mean something, but I have to either stop Carol, which I may die in doing, or I have to beat Carol to the punch and take care of it myself, which I'm probably going to die while doing. So I definitely think that it's going to be that. It's either going to be Morgan going out to try and stop Carol, knowing that he's going to die. But why would he tell her if he's just going to go stop her? Maybe he just has a moment of insaneness, a moment of craziness where he tells Carol and then says to himself, that was wrong, I shouldn't have done that, let me go stop her. But either way, I think it's either Carol or Morgan who dug that grave. I said it like 5 times, I say it one more time. All right, that's about it. Let me wrap this up. 16 minutes, 17 minutes is long enough. Sorry to take up your time. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, you want to chime in, you got your own predictions, you want to call me an asshole because my predictions are stupid, hit me up down below. The good, the bad, the ugly, I want to hear it all. Definitely throw me some likes, some subscribes, some shares. If you like the video, definitely show me some love, man. All right, I will see you next time. That's it. You have a good day.